Hello, everybody. If you are hearing me, please say yes in the chat. I want to make sure everybody is hearing me. I want to make sure everything is fine. Awesome, you're hearing me. So welcome, everybody to the second day of our photography training session put on by the Commuters Publications Committee. A special welcome to those joining us on YouTube. Thank you so much for coming out again today. It promises to be a good day. And if you missed the session yesterday, it is completely fine. Today is going to be amazing. I am your host, Aishiba Cornwall. I'm a first-year integrated marketing communication major at UWI Mona Campus, and I'm so excited about today's session. So we are learning about the art of photography, and we'll be looking at the introduction to Adobe Lightroom, a comprehensive guide to the use of the tools of the software. Now, a little background information on our event or training session will run from Monday, February 22 to Friday, February 26 from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. It is 100% free. All you need are your laptop and good internet, and we're good. So if you know somebody who's interested, just WhatsApp them, DM them on Instagram and tell them so we start. We're ready to go. This section seeks to enhance and improve the photography skills of the UWI population regionally. Now, as we go on into the session, don't forget to follow our social media pages. We're going to paste it in the chat in a bit so that you can follow us. Guys, we're serious enough. Follow we, tag we, anything you learn, make sure you tag we, at we, all of that. So the information is being placed in the chat right now. So before we move on, I am going to tell those individuals who might just be joining us for the first time how you can install Adobe Lightroom Classic 2021 on your Windows PC. So all you'd have to do is click on the download link provided in the email that was sent to you. Left click or right click on the drop down icon, share with me, Lightroom Classic to access the option to download. After that, open the folder and use WinRAR or any extracting software to extract the folder. While inside the extractor folder, enter Adobe 2021 and click the setup option. Select yes to give your computer permission, then quit, choose your region and watch it install. Open and enjoy Adobe Lightroom Classic. Lifelong, you have it all the rest of your life. So imagine 5 UWIs. Many regions, but one common goal, connecting all campuses through photography. Now, our presenter for today is the beautiful Aliyah Rose Tate. I'm going to tell you a little about her. I'm seeing your messages coming in, guys. So we have our team working on the back end that can answer your question as they come in. All right, so Rochelle, I'm seeing your messages, so the team will get back to you and answer you in the chat. So Aliyah Rose Tate, you're most welcome, Rochelle. Aliyah Rose Tate is a 21-year-old student from Barbados, currently pursuing her bachelor's in management and marketing at the UWI's Cave Hill campus. Her interests include photography, arts, language learning, etc. She's currently the president of the photography club at the Cave Hill campus and is really proud of her role. Now, I want you to help me welcome Aliyah Rose to our virtual stage. And the way you're going to do that is by putting some star emojis in the chat. Please welcome Aliyah to our virtual stage. Aliyah, are you here?
Yes, please. I'm here. Thank you for the warm welcome.
You're most welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm really excited about this session. You know, before we get started, I wanted to know from you. See, I get P stars in another comment. Thank you so much, guys, for being engaging and for commenting in the chat box. What I wanted to know from you, Aliyah Rose, is do you think that this session overall, do you think it's important? Do we have to be here? Is photography even a thing that anybody should be interested in? You know, what is your take on that?
Yes, definitely in this digital age with Instagram and people doing heavy marketing, starting up their own businesses, or even being a part of the school, clubs at school. Photography is very important. And Lightroom is even adds to the importance because it enhances the photos that you might take with your phone or a camera. So it's very good for everyone to be here.
Do you have any advice for those who may not know much about photography, but just really enjoy taking pictures?
Well, just have fun with it. If you want to learn more, there's a lot of resources on YouTube. There's a lot of resources on the internet as a whole. Um, if you're in Barbados, you can join the photography club. Yeah.
That's the plug, guys. If you are in Barbados, make sure you join their photography club. And last question to you, Alia, before you get into your presentation. What are you most excited about for today's session? Because look here, I know you're excited, bad, you know. I know you're excited, but so I want to know what part, what aspect of it you're excited about.
I'm excited to help everyone take their photos to another level.
Boy, love it, love it. And you know, without further ado, Alia Rose, I will leave the stage to you. Thank you so much for being here.
All right, let me start sharing my screen. Here. So I have a little mini presentation to just as an introduction before we head into the software. So my presentation today is about the comprehensive guide to the use of the tools in Lightroom. So my name is Alira State. As mentioned, I'm the president of the Photography Association of the KFIL campus. I study marketing and management, and I'm also an artist. So here's some of my work, just so you have a gist. I like a lot of portrait. The objective of this lesson is an introductory course. So we're going to look into what's Lightroom, and then we're going to look at the interface, how you can edit photos, how to export them, and then I'll take questions at the end. So part one is an introduction. What is Lightroom? Well, Lightroom is a software that you can use to enhance your photos. There is a mobile app. There is a app for any Android tablet, Apple tablet, and of course the one on your computer. So persons on Instagram usually have a certain style that Lightroom helps them to take their photos and create, express their creativity. So if you look at this person's Instagram profile from immediately you can get their aesthetic. They're into a lot of the cool colors, which is the blues, and the oranges, which are the warms. Also, this is a YouTuber. He likes a lot of contrast. So there's a lot of dark blacks and a lot of light whites. This is also another photographer, very famous on Instagram. He likes to use lights. And yeah, you can see his style. These are the befores and afters. So sometimes when you take the photo straight off the camera, the magic doesn't end there. It begins there. This is the befores and the after for the Instagrammer Brandon Wolfo. This is a landscape shot. For the before, you might take it and think it looks so good, but you can take it so much further in Lightroom. Yes, please. So now let's get to our demo. So in your emails, you should have received some photos that you can edit with. That is in the demo photos folder. And let's open Lightroom. Am I speaking too fast? Is everyone understanding? Is everyone following?
No, you're not speaking too fast.
Okay, thank you.
As you are loading up Lightroom, Alia Rose, someone is asking if the Lightroom for iPhone if it is limited?
You can't do the same exact things you can on the software on your computer. And if you're just using a normal account, you can't edit certain like raw photos. But if you have a paid account with Adobe already, then you can get all the features available there. Yeah. So is everyone ready? This is Lightroom. Don't be intimidated. Let's just go to the library. So when you take your photos straight off the camera, it's good to have them in a nice folder so that when you import them, they can all show up and you can manage them properly. So ignore everything else. Let's just look for the import button right now. Let's click on import. And it will start to look for your photos. So tell it where to look. So local disk is where on your computer. I'm not exactly sure how it works on Mac. Seconds. Right. So I included, just go into the first folder and import everything. Check all and then press the import button. So then it begins to import the files. So I have included some of my personal work and then 2 of pictures in Scotland that are royalty free. So you'll be able to use them with no worries about copyright.
Somebody went to a lot of trouble to find David. My fault. You weren't the one who sent them off. But I was the one who made him a suspect. The convicted murderer, all the evidence pointed. Not to mention you ran. What were you supposed to think? Get the rental problem.
Okay, so let's get started with this photo. So when you
Okay, Aliyah, I'm sorry, we're getting a few comments. So Natakia, I'm sorry if I'm butchering your name, but she's asking if you must save the images first. I'm not understanding if it's from the folder onto her laptop or what. And somebody's asking if she says yes. So she should save it on her laptop and then put it into Lightroom.
Yes, do not edit from the hard drive. One time I edited from the hard drive or my SD card and the things disappeared. So make sure you have a copy on your computer.
And they should be editing the photos along with you.
Yes.
So yes, Rogine.
All right, so let's open up. So has everyone gotten this far? Next is the Develop tab. So if you look at Lightroom right now, there is a lot of stuff on the screen. Over here is the catalog. That will describe what photos you have inside of Lightroom. The folders would describe if you have different sets of photos from different days, that's where the folders would come in hand. And then you can have smart collections and make your own collection of photos. Just organizing tips. The navigator shows a little view of the photo so you can see it from a distance and see how the edits are changing it up. This here is the library tab showcasing all your photos. On the right, the histogram describes the photo and what's happening and what is light, what's dark, and how it's distributed. Yeah. All of this is information. So metadata, this will tell you when it was shot, what camera was used. And these other tabs, develop is where you actually do the edits. Map is, don't really use that tab. Book is to make, if you want to look at doing maybe albums. Slideshow, that's self-explanatory. Print is if you want to print your photo, you would process it there. And web, yes. So let's head over to the develop tab and click on our photo. Right. So on the left in the develop tab, you will see presets. So presets, a lot of photographers sell these. This is when you make the edits to your photo and you save the edits as a preset. So that way you can apply it to other photos as well. Or you can, so if I scroll over here, you can see the different looks that is given it. So this one's a matte look, this one's bright, this one's natural, vivid, makes everything really bright. So these are one click and you go. Snapshots save different stages along the way. So if you're about to make a big change and you're not quite sure about it, you can save a snapshot to save your steps that far. The history shows what you have done, the edits that you have made. So if you want to undo something from a few steps back, you can look at the history tab and click on where you last wanted to be. Right. So on the right now, there are these buttons, 6 of them. This one is to crop the photo. Usually for me, this is my first edit because cropping composition. So the composition really makes the photo. As you see, it's already to the rule of thirds. So when you follow me, you want to keep it about there. That looks like a good composition. Or maybe we can focus on cut out this at the front. And only have a little bit of the tree since that's not the main focus. It is this beautiful scenery. This one is Xitang in China. Maybe we could get a little more of the water since the water is the main highlight. So that's what you want to be thinking when you are cropping your photos. So about there's good. I'll just give you guys some time to crop like this one. Yep. So if you don't follow exactly, you can either stay in a chat or the YouTube video is going to be recorded so you can watch that back another time. So when we get to, after we cropped, we go down to the first segment here. It's basic. So you can treat either a color photo or a black and white photo. For now, we're using a color photo. And this is a white balance selector. So if your photo was a little off, like if we turn it off a little bit, sometimes your, this is a bit too orange. What you can do is you can take this and select what you think in the image is the whitest. And then neutral darker area. It will automatically correct that, probably because I already have it set. So you can double click to change this back to 0 at any point in time. So about there, some errors. Where else is a white area? This back part is kind of white. Yeah, so that will automatically set all the colors towards that. But usually Lightroom is a calculated thing. So you wanna just take that with a grain of salt and use your own instinct. So this is so let's make it cooler or warmer. That looks good. So you can copy and you can double click here and type in what number you want as well, if you want my exact numbers. All right, so that's the white balance. Now let's look at exposure. So some areas are dark, some are properly exposed, and some are light. Usually I just bring up the exposure a little bit. Since this is Lightroom and not in camera, I don't have to worry about the blown up highlights and losing detail there. Because when you take a picture in a camera, you usually can't save if a portion of the image is completely white. You usually can't save that area. So if you take your photos, make sure you take them a little underexposed if you know that you want to edit them and there's a big white area in the photo. The contrast is pretty good here, but usually when you go into Lightroom and you're feeling out, you can slide around to the far right and to the far left to see how it actually works. So if I put the contrast to all, you can see the darks are extremely dark and the whites are extremely, what contrast means how far away the light and the dark is from each other. So they contrast a lot. And then if you bring it down all the way, it's not much contrast. So double click to get that back to 0. For now, I think the contrast is pretty good in this image. See if I can bring this down a little. Yes. There's later we're gonna get, when we get to the tone curve, then we can worry about contrast a little bit more. So highlights is some of the brightest points in your image, which would be like the clouds. So the clouds and the sky is a bit too bright. So I just bring mine down to about 82, and that shows the sky pretty well. For the shadows, there's a lot of information being lost. Like sometimes you can't see what's down there, what's in here. So if you bring up the shadows, it starts to begin to show some of that information. If you bring it all the way up, you can see what it actually does. But that looks pretty washed out, so we want to bring it down a little more. For the whites in the image, let's see what happens when we bring it down. The whole image kind of becomes darker. If we bring it up, the sky is blown out. So double click to make it back to 0 and bring it down a little. That will give more contrast. For the blacks, no. I like to have my blacks very low. That way everything kind of, the contrast is there. So next, for clarity, if you want to see, that makes it really, really sharp, and the other one makes it really, really fuzzy. I don't usually use this button, but if you want to achieve one of those looks in your photos, then you know what it does. For dehaze, if it's like a foggy or hazy scene, when you bring that up, it will take away some of the fog, which is not the case in this photo. If you want to bring it to negative numbers, it actually makes things hazy. The vibrance tends to brighten the duller colors in the shot. So like those greens really pop. The saturation, no. That brings all of the colors in the image and makes them more saturated. So if it's a little bit red, it makes it extremely red. If it's a little bit green, it makes them extremely green. So if we were to bring that all the way up, you see, this looks pretty crazy. And if we were to bring it all the way down, everything will go straight to black and white. Because if you think about it, if you take out all the colors, then it's going to be black and white and green. But for now, we can leave that as is. So we're finished with the basics. If you want to close this tab, you can, but just leave it there. So after the basic edits to the photo, correcting it, then you can make it your own. I'm going to leave this open so you can copy if you're following. Right. After the basics, then you want to add your own style to the photo. So if you come down here to tone curve, usually persons like to make an S curve. That looks really beautiful. This is like the S shape. So they pull this side on the right is the brights of the image, the whites, the bright colors. This right here in the middle are the midtones. And down here are the shadows. So if I was to take this and bring it up, you can see what that does to the photo. If I bring it down, it makes the brights less bright. If you ever want to undo something in Lightroom, you can press Ctrl Z. Ctrl Z is a very common shortcut for any program. Ctrl Z, that will bring it back to normal. So let's just bring this down a little. And let's just bring this up, very subtle. Actually, this kind of looks better. Like this. Pretty much. To achieve like a matte look, persons usually lift this. And that kind of maps out if you see the you can click here to zoom. That kind of maps out the blacks and achieves that effect. Yeah, so you got a little bit of that. If you want to, you can edit the red, greens, and the blues of the image. Right now we're editing the whole image, but if you want to edit the red, like if you want to make the shadows a bit redder or the highlights a bit redder, or if you want to take away the red. So let's see how that affects our image. It's a bit much. You want to be subtle with it. So that kind of looks good. It brings out the lanterns. Maybe for the shadows, we can have them a bit more blue. More blue, not less blue. Yeah, that's looking good. It also affects the sky because the sky is blue. Yes. You can also change it to a different type of curve. If you click on different points in the curve, it starts to add points that you can edit from. Great. So now let's get down to another good section. This is where you actually edit the colors in the image individually. So if we want to go to hue, what is the hue? The hue is the actual color. So as you see here, red, orange, yellow, green, aqua, blue, purple, magenta. If you think this green is a bit too much on the yellow side and you want it to be really green, what you can do is you can go to green and then you can drag it over a little bit. So it starts to go more towards a blue, if you get me. For the reds are looking a bit more on the orange side rather than red, because you know in China they really like the color red. So let's make it a Let's add more red. Yep. Then the sky color is good, but we want to make it a bit darker. So we can head over to saturation. Saturation, as I said before, it makes the colors more intense. So if I were to do that to the blues, usually you can slide around and see what that's like. So if we're to bring it up to all, you see that's a bit crazy. So I'm gonna bring that back down. But it still needs more blues. So you start gradually adding to the blues. I think now it's decent. Any other colors you want to edit? So the water is green, but we want to make it a bit more appealing. So click this button here. What this button does is it automatically selects the colors. So if I were to bring my mouse over here and hold it down, it's currently selecting what color this is. So if I bring it this way, if I move my mouse to the left, it makes it yellow. If I move it to the other side, start to bring it more towards green. Which one is more appealing? Do I like the yellows or do I like the greens? Well, I like it here. So I dragged it a little bit to the left. Okay, so now let's go to the luminance. The luminance is how bright or dark it is. It's that simple. So we can make the blues a bit darker. Slightly pop more, not so much, just a little bit. About 10 is good. For the greens, we can make those darker as well, so those would more pop in the image. Yep. So that is what we've done so far with our image. And as I said before, if you slide this in different directions, it will give you different looks. So if we want to see what our photo looked like before all of our changes, let's just press done here. We can hit this YY. As you see, when you put your mouse over it, it says cycles between before and after views. So if I just click on that, it shows me before and after. As you can see, the image on the right is much more intense and it has its own little style to it versus the one that just comes straight out the camera. So you can change the way that is viewed as well. You can split it like that. So you see one half of the image in the before and the other half in the current edit. Or you can do a top bottom view if that's what you prefer. Or you can do it like this. It splits the top and the bottom. But I like this, so you can see both of them right now. This one is a reference view in case you wanted to add an image that you wanted to see the style of and you want to make yours adjust until it starts to look like the reference image. This just changes the before settings to after. This changes the after to the before. And this swaps if you want this on the left or if you want this on the right. It's up to you. All right, let's get back to our edits. So split toning is about the highlights and the shadows. What it does is it changes how the shadows and the highlights feel. So let's take this off. This button to get back there. So if I wanted, let's just scroll through it so we can see how it affects everything. We have to bring the saturation up so we can actually see the changes. So as you see, you can give your image a green feel. our pink fill, our blue fill. What do I want to add to mine? I think let's get as it is. For the shadows, bring out the saturation a little bit so you can actually see the effects. For this demo, we're just going to bring it up to all so we can see the extremes, or we can bring it to half. So you can see that it mostly affects the shadows and it affects the sky less. So if you like this look for your image, you can see how much you want to add in. And you can also use this little switch. The switch will help you to see what you changed. So it will turn off this split toning effect and turn it back on. It's very subtle, but I kind of like it on. So the details, sometimes when you get photos that need more sharpening, they're a bit too fuzzy, you can take this up. But generally, going all the way up to all, it makes it very like rough, very rough. Like the texture is very rough. So I think our image doesn't really, actually it needs a little bit of sharpening. The radius is the size of the sharpening. So if we were to bring this up as alt, just to see the examples, if we bring the radius down, you can see that it's very small, and if you bring it up, you can see that the sharpness gets like, each dot gets kind of bigger. If we were to do that for detail, you'll see that it gets much more like frequent, a lot more dots. If you were to do masking, see that effects. Yes. So on the other hand, if your image has in a lot of noise, which is a lot of tiny dots, that is an effect, but for some images, you might not want that. You can bring the luminance a little bit, but if you bring it up too much, it starts to look more like a painting, kind of loose, if you see. That's what it did to that tree. It really just turned it into painting. So you don't want to do that too much. So for the lens correction, if your lens that you took the photo with, this is mostly for if you're using a DSLR camera, which is the ones that like Canon or Nikon would have that are not like your phone. You can edit how the lens made an error. So you can like select remove this effect, which is called chromatic aberration. It kind of makes it into like a little bit of a double in around the details of objects. Or the profile corrections, if you want to distort it a little bit, because like say we have another photo in here, the horizon line is a bit curved. So you would select the person who created the camera, say like Canon, which is what I use, and the model, which is the lens. We will do that later, I'll show you. But the model is the kit lens that I came with, and then distort it. Transform is just like, you know, rotating it, scaling it and stuff. Effects, if you like a vignette. A vignette is kind of like, let me show you. It's this on the photo. So you can change the midpoint of the vignette, see what that does. It brings it in more. You can change the roundness. That starts to make it more like a rectangle versus like the oval circle kind of shape. You can change the feather. It makes it hard, really harsh, or it makes it very subtle. If you take the vignette and you turn it to a positive number, it will start to be getting white. But for now, we don't really want this on. So let's reset everything, just double click. For calibration, that depends on the camera. If you find that your camera has a certain look and you want to make sure that everything is back where it's supposed to be, you can slide around this. But either way, just play with everything and see how it looks. This is a bit much. Yeah, red, greens, and blues. So does anyone have any questions at this point? I'm not able to see the chats, but if sorry, I think your mic is muted, Miss Carmel.
I just realized. Thank you so much. If you have any questions right now, you can send them in the chat and I will look at it. Oh, somebody's asking, can Lightroom remove backgrounds?
So you would more do that kind of edit in Photoshop. And our workshop is coming tomorrow. Lightroom is more for editing the look and feel of the image, while Photoshop is about more like effects and taking out the background, adding in something and stuff like that.
Okay, got it. Does anybody else have any other questions for Alia Rose now? Somebody's asking if you can recommend a Photoshop app. So like Lightroom, Photoshop have, any kind of app on the App Store or Play Store?
Yeah, Lightroom itself has an app. Then Photoshop itself also has an app. There are other like alternatives if you want to try those out. I think Google has one. There's Snapseed, there's PixArt, and those would help you to edit on the go.
Those last two top for sure, Snapseed and PixArt.
Okay, well, I have a question. When you had started, you mentioned something called the rule of thirds. I wanted you to explain that. What's the importance of that?
Sure, let's go back here to the crop. So the rule of thirds is this concept that you shouldn't place everything in the smack middle of the image. It is the concept that things look good when you have either them in one of these thirds, or if you have the subject at the cross section here. So like for the river, mostly that is on this bottom third. This subject here, he's mostly around this point. The sky takes up 2 of the thirds. So that is the concept with the rule of thirds. It is composition, making your image pleasing when you look at it.
Okay, thank you. I'm seeing here, Tia Wright is asking, okay, so are we going to get that kind of Photoshop where we can edit images like we see in the movies, or the one that is always talked about?
Perhaps the person tomorrow will be able to explain Photoshop to you. I like Photoshop personally. It does a lot of cool things. But Lightroom is for when you want to take all your photos and like say you did a portrait of somebody and you went on a vacation and you just want to edit.
I'm glad you answered the question like that, because now Tia Wright will just have to come back tomorrow and to find out. So love to see. Roche now is asking, what exactly are presets? Will the edits you just did, will it automatically be saved as a preset?
All right. So if we go to presets, the presets are, as I said, all these edits and changes that we've done, they can be saved as a preset. People like to photographers, especially if they have a certain look to their photos, they would save it as a preset so that they can quickly make the photo look like their style. So here, to save this as a preset, you would click on Add New Preset, Create Preset, or you could import them. Photographers like to sell their presets as well. So create one, and then I select, give it a name, like say I like this as landscape, perhaps urban landscape. And I want to copy everything except the exposure and the white balance because that will vary from image to image. But everything else we want to apply. So we click create. And then if we can find it, user presets, urban landscape. So if I was to go to another image inside of the set that I gave you, and if I were to click on urban landscape, that would apply the settings. So let's look at the before and the after. As you see, it applied the settings that we did for the other image. Lightroom comes with some, so you can, instead of that, you can make it bright, you can make it high contrast with a lot of detail, or this matte look. The matte look is very popular now.
Okay. Do we have any more questions for Alea Rose? Anybody? Oh, by the way, for anybody asking about Photoshop, so we did actually have a Photoshop session last year. It was amazing. The good thing is that you can actually access the videos on our YouTube page. And so I will send the link in the chat box so that you can all access it. So thank you. The stage is yours, Alea Rose.
Okay. Once there are no more questions, we can go into looking at the portrait.
We have one more in the chat right now.
Sure.
So Tyreek is asking, can I use this to create the animated or drawing based on the picture?
I don't understand, sorry.
All right, Tyreek, are you able to ask your question a little different so we can understand? Or are you able to open your mic? Tyreek, all right, I'm not hearing from Tyreek, but I guess when it's time to ask.
I was saying, like, you know, when you take a picture of yourself and you want to have the animated version, like the drawing version or the cartoon version of that picture, can you use this Lightroom to do it, or you have to use Photoshop?
I think you have to use Photoshop, and plus also some persons, if you use some apps online, what they do is they take, say, your outline and then they make an image from that. So it's not Lightroom where you're editing the colors and the contrast and stuff like that. That is more of a different type of filter.
Okay, thank you, Tyreek. Okay, so you can continue, Alea Rose.
Sure. Maybe we can have a short break at this time.
Okay, if we're going to be having a short break, I have a giveaway for those who are interested in little credits and them thing there. If you're interested in the credit, let me see you put stars and one bag of emojis in the comment for me now, please. Because if you're not interested, you know, we can just keep it, you know. We can just keep it if you're not interested. Oh, I see the star them are coming. Period. Love to see it. Love to see it. All right. So the first credit we're gonna give away is from the Flow provider. So all the people who have Flow phone and all them things there, this one is for you. Magaguna like 2 seconds to take out your phone, you know, type in the *121 number sign and get ready for the numbers. So this is for persons with Flow phone. Ready? 00103054098. Did I go too fast or did anyone get it? If you get it, please put it in the chat. Or if you can't get it, then we know that somebody get it. Rachel, you never hear the first digit, but I'm wondering if anybody get it. If anybody got it, let me know. If not, I'll do it over again. Boy, I'm not hear nobody claim it at all. So let's go again. Okay, all right. So everybody's saying that it was muffled. So let me go again. 54001030540958. Did anybody get it at all? Anthony, you're the one who gets it. Congratulations, Anthony. Congratulations. We can't really sing in a song, not to sing with me. You're most welcome. And remember, guys, to follow our social media pages. The team is going to post it in the comment section. And so you can follow us on Instagram. You know, I just saw a message coming from Rachel saying congrats. And Manala, I'm have to big up Rachel. I love the support over here. Love to see it. So this is your little break, guys. Alia Rose is giving you a little break because we know that, you know, sitting down for 2 hours can be very daunting. So, you know, you have this time now where you can get up, go drink some water, go and go walk and come back for our session. So the information was just posted in the chat. You can go ahead and follow our social media pages, and who knows, you might win something. Like who knows? Just make sure you do the do and follow our social media pages. And for all the individuals, Errol, say imagine not just waking up. So for all the individuals who don't want to get up or anything, we can have a little chat before Alia Rose starts back. I really want to know, what are you guys looking for at the end of the session? Like, what do you want to accomplish? Tia, right, I want to, man, you can't just hold on, man, we'll have more credit to give away. Don't worry about that at all. Just make sure you stick with us until we're finished. Yes, guys, so let me know. Let me know in the comments, what do you want to accomplish from today? You know, why you like photography? Why are you here? For me personally, I'm an integrated marketing communication student. And so I have this little photography class of one. I'm gonna learn about rule of thirds and them something there one day. I feel like my bright when Alia Rose they are talking about me and say, yeah, I learn this in a class, I feel bright, you know? So that was really interesting for me. So I'm seeing Errol here saying, I just want to learn more about the Lightroom app, period, love to hear it. Love to hear it. Tia Wright is saying that she wants to accomplish taking better photos. The same here. Tyreek is saying to edit photos as an hobby or maybe a business. Tyreek, best kind of business that I could have right about now. And you're at the right place for this. Thank you guys so much for coming. Really appreciate it. So Kareem Medley, big up Kareem, by the way, guys, my friend, period. Kareem is saying, I want to learn to edit professionally. Tyreek said, money in it, man. But of course, we are heading where the money resides over here. Ash is saying, can we get the link to download Photoshop, please? No problem, Ash, but that will be after the session ends. All right, so just remind me. If anything, I'll send you my email and you can send me an email with that. Shanique wants to start a business in photography. look here, the fact that everybody talking about starting business, I love to see it. I love to hear it. That is where the world is headed right now. And I just love that you guys have that mindset. Nataki, I hope I'm pronouncing your name properly. I'm so sorry if I'm butchering it. So Nataki wants to be a content creator. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
So you want to be a content creator, so all of this will help. And I love that. I love that we're able to actually help you with the things that you're interested in. You see me, a lot of times people, keep events and so on, and you just go and show up and you don't really get nothing from the event them. So I'm glad that the Commuters PCC is able to put on something that will be beneficial to each of you, even if it's something that you're doing as a hobby, or it's something that you're doing in a business related field. Adan, I hope I pronounce it properly, wants to get better at photo editing at the professional level. Tia, right, where the money resides all 2021, and that's on Mary Had a Little Lamb, okay? Tiana is saying that I want my self-timer photos to look professional. Look here, I understand you, trust me. I understand you. Sterling is saying, I want to make my IG fabulous. I like that. Me, I love that. Nakiba Bowes is saying, I just love all aspects of photography, taking photos and editing them. And so I wanted to be more proficient in it. Awesome stuff. Tia Wright is saying, and I just low-key want someone give me with a digital camera. Look here, no man. If nobody want, magically give Tia Wright with a digital camera, and now is the time, Tia Wright. Love to see it. All right, Errol is saying, I'll continue coming to these sessions because I want to learn to be a good photographer. And Errol, big up yourself all the time, every time. I personally know Errol, and Errol is an amazing photographer. And the fact that I think he's already perfect and he's here wanting to build on his craft is amazing to me, really. And I love to see that. I love to see people, pushing past them limits and wanting to learn more. It's all about growth, and I love to see that.
Okay, excuse me, good afternoon.
Hi, good afternoon.
I missed the session yesterday because of work. Is there any way that I could be filled in or updated on what happened yesterday?
All right, Shanique, hear me tell you, say, you're not have to worry because we recorded the session yesterday. And so I'll be able to send you a link so that you can sit down, drink a little Milo and watch over the session. You don't have to worry about that. You see me? So just remind me and I'll send you the link as soon as I'm finished here.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're most welcome. Oh God, everybody, I love how everybody are talking at the chat. I can't even keep up. What Karima said, Lightroom is for the professionals, so being able to use it makes you bougie. You guys not easy at all, Guys, Demar Brown is here. Demar is saying, come out on Thursday to learn a bit more on photography. So look here, if you're really serious about going where the money resides, if you're serious about growing as it relates to photography, make sure you come out to all of the sessions today. Make sure you stay for the rest of the session today, tomorrow, and the day after that. All right, guys. Thank you so much for having this chat with me. I appreciate you guys responding. I appreciate the engagement. I wanted to know if Aliyah Rose is back and ready to go.
Please.
Look here, people, if you want to put some star in the comment box, please and thanks, because Aliyah Rose is ready again. I hope everybody will drink them water and don't walk, come back. Yes, girl, put the star. If you're not an emoji, just type star. Yes, I love the engagement over here. All right, Aliyah.
Yes.
Everybody ready? So the floor is now yours again.
Thank you. I'm loving all these reasons for
definitely.
Yes. All the entrepreneurs and the people who just want good Instagram photos. Pretty good. So right now I'm going to start you off with showing you how to do some spot removal. So let's go to this picture of food. Like for me and my sister, we wanted to create, do our little baking and make something from it. So as you know, first let's look at correct the image. It's a bit dark. So I make this brighter. The highlights, let me scroll down. The highlights, it could be a bit lighter, making it pop more. You want this to look just like a photo from a magazine or something. So let me take this in so you can get less of the table. If you need to rotate the image, you can go from outside here right to a little corner and then rotate it a little bit. So let me do it this way. This is good, especially if you have horizon lines in your image, which we'll get to later. You always want to make sure that the biggest horizontal in the image is exactly horizontal. So let's press done. I think it has a little bit too much exposure. Yep. And generally that looks pretty good. Let's get to the meat now. This tool here is called the spot removal tool. So like you notice in this quiche here, it was very delicious, just saying. You just want to make the cursor right to the size of the object. So when you click there, Lightroom will automatically try to find somewhere you want to copy. So if I were to go over by this green, it will want to copy the green. If I want to go over by this ham, it will want to copy the ham. But we want somewhere that is very similar to the place where we want to remove the spot. So then we release. If you want to go again, just make your mouse smaller. If you need to, you can zoom in on the image. But for now, let's click on this spot here. And it automatically tries to choose, so just move it over. Ooh. No, that was a bit, it just grew. That was a bit too big. So just drag it over here. And then you can continue doing that to make sure that your image is spot free. This is good again for if you want to do like pimples on someone's face and stuff like that. Or if you want this big spot here, since it's standing out, I think it's just from the pan or something, just drag it. And then it will try to find somewhere near enough. Right now, we just want to go next door to it. And release. And yeah, the spot is virtually gone. Now next, let's look at this image that I put in. This is a horizon. As you notice, it's kind of bent. Well, first, let's make some adjustments to the image. We want a good composition. So let's zoom in. This one, I just want the rock to be like a little bit in the foreground, which is like closer to you. So the foreground is here where this rock is, and then there's a middle ground, which is like the main subject, and the background all the way in the back, which is the sky. So about there is good. If you want to follow the rule of thirds, you would go all up here, making it a little closer. And this boat seems to be like a lot of the focus. So if you wanted to do that as well, you could just pull this in and try to make the boat close to the intersection point. So that's what you see. Yes. So bring up the exposure. You know, you want your image corrected first and foremost before any edits. And then the highlights are good. The shadows are good. I think could be darker because we don't really want the rock to be the focus. We want the midground to be the focus. And then just keep scrolling because everything else looks well. The blues could really stand out more. So remember in tone curve, you go here and you press blue and see, let's see what lifting it does. Oh, when it goes crazy, just press Ctrl Z and then it will undo all the craziness. So I think my mouse slipped there. Wants to be a bit more blue at the shadows and the highlights. Let's see what that does for us. want to be a bit more blue. Actually, making it a little more yellow kind of pops the scent. So let's scroll down to the HSL. Since this is a beach scene, you really want the blues to pop. The sky is blue, the sea is kind of aqua. So let's go straight to saturation, because I think the colors that the camera produced are so beautiful. So that's pretty good. So let's saturate the blues. Not too much. You don't want to go like all this because that looks crazy. It looks kind of good, but you don't want to go that far. So just go up more. How about there is good. Go to the aquas and make them a bit more saturated. A nice trick that I like to think of is when I want an area to stand out more, I don't only go for saturation, I also go for luminance. So I bring this down. You see now? That's the effect. So what I really wanted to show you is the lens correction. As you see, the horizon line is very curved, which is not what we want, because when we look out into the sea, the horizon line is straight as can be. So we enable profile corrections. If you use a DSLR, you select Canon and then you select your, and automatically it changed the bend. See there? Now it's flat, off, flat. So there we go. Now our horizon line is straight. Another tip is when you go to cropping now, there's this angle slider, so it would change the angle. So you would subtly change that to make it right. But you could click on this ruler, straighten tool, and you could click the left point of the horizon and drag it across about parallel to the line, and it will automatically straighten. So that takes wherever you draw that angle and then it turns it to straighten it up. So let's look at the difference. Beautiful, beautiful beach picture. Let's move on to a little portrait now. This is my great grandmother. She is, let's just get this back to full mode. This is her 100th birthday party. She turned 100. She lived pretty long. Amazing. So the first thing you want to do is make sure that is more of her. Someone's arm is in the background, but you want to take that out and make it more about her. So just go in and press done. You can press done or enter. Either way works. And the image doesn't have enough contrast in it. So remember, the first edit is the crop to get the composition. Then after that, you can white balance it. I think it's pretty balanced. Should it be more warm? You can just test it out to see what you like. I think that's good. Just a little +6. The tint, I think you think it's good. The exposure, you can expose it a little more. Brighten it up. Then for the contrast, I want it to be a bit more contrast, but remember you can fix that in tone curve as well. Now for the highlights, I'll bring those down because if you see in the background, there's that bright white spot. Usually when, if you remember from yesterday, if you take a picture, you either expose for the darks or the lights. You can't really get both. If you take a picture of someone in front of a window, you're either exposing them or you're exposing the bright window. So here you take this down because this is very bright and it pops her face more. So then let's bring down the blacks so that we can really get some more contrast. Space, saturation. So let's take the tones to RGB. Let's bring this. Do I want it lighter? Do I want it darker? Maybe about that, and then bring up the highlights a little, not too much, that's a bit much. Yes, now that's pretty nice. Do I want to make it more matte. If you want to make it more matte, remember, just drag this up and it will give it a more of a matte look. But I think it actually adds to the mood. It makes it seem like more of an intimate image. Then, you know, edit these colors. You can go straight for the saturation if you want them brighter. She has a lot of blues in her dress, a lot of aquas too. Okay. So after this, we can go for a radial filter. So what the radial filter does is it puts a filter on a certain part of an image. So if I were to click it and then click her face, for example, whenever drag it on her face, that would make the filter on her face. For inverting, let me see, click on the invert button. And I think, for example, they just automatically change it so you can see where it is. But we want her face to be a bit more sharp so you can really bring out the portrait. Yeah, all the information, the face is the main focal point. You can do as much edits you want. The same edits, same tone curve, same colors. You can all do that to one specific area. For the gradual filter, you can do it for one portion of the area of the image. So you would drag that out and you can rotate it, or just, this is rotate. And make it to a certain point. So it gradiates out. So let's just lower the exposure a little. So it's more on her face. That's just an example of what you can do with these tools in Lightroom. So next, you can look at a landscape that has a lot of greens. So the first thing, remember, is to get the composition. So if I look here, this rock is the main focal point. So I want it to be on an intersection here. So let it intersect. When you're cropping, remember, if you want to do Instagram, it will have to be more of a square. You can check, you can do here in the aspect ratios. So you can do 1:1. This way, whenever you zoom, it will be locked to a square. But for now, I'm just going to be doing custom, so I can keep my rule of thirds image. Let's unlock it there so we can not be locked to the square. And that's pretty good. The sky makes up a third, and the ground takes up 2/3, and that rock is right there on the intersection. I think I like it whiter because it's a landscape, and usually portraits are tall and landscapes are white. So making it whiter adds more drama. But we still want this to be at that intersection. So let's raise the exposure. Not too much. How about there? That's good. And then let us take down the highlights, because as you see, it's blown right out. And take down the whites as well. So the blacks, we take those down so that we can get more contrast. The sky is really, yeah, there we go. The sky was really blown out. So if we go back to RBG, in the tone curve, we can choose, actually I think this one I want to do a matte look for. That would be pretty cool. but I still want it to have a lot of contrast. Well, to that, I go straight to the HSL, the hue, saturation, luminance, and I want my sky to pop because we're not really seeing the sky. So if you want, you can click on this and target the sky exactly, or you could go and work with the blues. So I want my sky. Do you like the color of my sky? So I'm just dragging my mouse around. Can't really see it, but that really changed it red to green, sorry. I think the problem here is the sky is too bright. So let's go to luminance and make our blues dark. Now you can see the reflections in the water. Now you can see the sky a bit better. The sky also has some aquas in it. So you want to take that down. And then I want to saturate them now. I'll make that very saturated. That looks good. Now if you look at the greens as well, it looks really nice to have these greens a little bit more to the yellow side and to saturate them more. That looks nice. When you edit the photos, you can think about what it looked like on that day, because sometimes when you take a picture of the camera, in the camera, it doesn't look like how exactly you see it with your eyes. So that's what Lightroom can help to do as well, and add your style on top of that. So let's just do a comparison to see what we are doing. It's not that dramatic. We want more drama. So let's make the greens brighter. And the yellows brighter as well. Yeah. We're adding some drama. Just play with that until you're satisfied. That's pretty good. If you want to add more style, you can go into the highlights and make them more of a certain color, say yellow. Just turn on the saturation light a lot. Right. I think I want them more of a blue. It always brings it right up to the highest saturation. So just bring that down. Yeah, that's pretty nice. And for the shadows, you can make them warm. Lightroom gives you these automatic colors, or you can pick from here, or you can use the sliders if you like to. So let's slide to bring that up a little bit. I'll make it more warm. So you see what kind of effect that gives. It's pretty cool. So that is your landscape. If you want to go to this one as well, let's do the same thing here. This one's actually pretty nice. So what we can do at this point is play around with the presets. High contrast, vivid. Don't be afraid to go online and look for some free presets. What kind of look? Oh, that's really bright. That's a bit too soft. Or we could use the preset that we did earlier, which is the urban landscape. It actually has on all these presets, so you might want to press undo. Let's go back to this state and then add the urban landscape. Remember, this is the one from the Shita in China, and that really pops it a lot. But usually, sometimes you can't get the skies this blue. So it's very lucky in this image that the skies are that blue. Yeah. So this is how you can continue editing. Let's figure out how to export now. Before we do that, I just want to know if you have any questions.
Do we have any questions? Let me look in the chat. Okay, so somebody's saying, Ruvini, guys, if I am butchering your name, I apologize. They're saying, I do not have the split toning section. I only have a section entitled color grading. Is it the same thing?
Which version of Lightroom is this?
Okay, which version of Lightroom do you have?
Can you
So
tell?
let us know in the chat which section you have. As we're in the answering the question and answer segment, I would love for us to do another giveaway. So look here, I just went on YouTube, you know, and I saw somebody say, look here, where's the digital? Where is the digital credit? Well, the digital credit is coming up. Do we have anybody in here that speaks Korean? You speak Korean? I feel like I want to call the numbers in Korean. Anybody speak Korean? I'm gonna see the chat that go off. No? Somebody said no. Come on. Hana. Duh. All right, nobody speaks. Nobody speaks. Somebody said, what kind of corruption is this? LOL. Nobody speaks Korean. Fine, I can't do it in Korean. But that's fine. That's fine. But we're going to do the digital one in English since we gave away the first flow in English. Don't worry, man. Spanish will come up. So all who know to talk Spanish, you better go find Google Translate and go learn little Spanish. All right, ready? So for our digital users, ready? May I get 2 seconds to take out on a phone? Ready? 9882449458549. No man, digital use enough four in that. There's something there a while ago. Anybody get it? Let me know. Woo! Somebody got it. It's not tacky. Hey, all right, she got it. See, all right, no worry. As long as you stay here, we'll be giving away some more credit. Rihanna Rose is saying, what was the Korean thing? No man, I was asking if anybody spoke Korean because I was going to call the numbers in Korean. Guys, I love K-drama here, so may I learn Korean right about now. May I learn the number them. So that's why I ask. But congratulations on getting your credit, guys. We have more credit to give away, so just stick around until the end of the session. Does anybody else? Girl, who tell them I can't talk Japanese though? Is why you take my fault. I can't talk Japanese. If anybody else have any more questions for Alia Rose, now is the time to drop it in the chat. You're most welcome, love. Thank you so much for coming. Congratulations.
Alia, thank you. Alia, I have a question. So when we upload like the pictures to actually edit, I see like how you have all of your images down. How do you like take them off though?
Take them off?
Yeah.
You mean that you don't want some?
No, I don't. I want to do mine later. So I want to take off the image because I have like a lot of images lying off on mine.
Okay, so one great way to do this is you can use the filters or you can just delete them. So delete them by pressing delete. And when it asks you if you want to, let me show you here. If you want to delete from this or remove, just press remove. Delete from this will delete your actual photo. Another way is using filters. So in camera, sometimes you can rate your filters. Like sometimes when I go on shoots, it's like, okay, all right, this is definitely the winner. This is a 5 filter, 5-star photo. This is just a 3-star. Okay, well, this is a 1-star. And then you can use that filter. So you can use pictures as well. So let's click rated. Right now it's trying to show me the filters that are 1 star and over. So let's take that off. What you can do when you're on an image is you can click on 5. So usually before I even start editing, I just sit through all my photos and I see which are the good ones, which are the bad ones, which are just okay. So now that I've pressed 5 and say, let's rate this one a 3. That one's a 3. So what you can do is you can click on 3. So this should show you all that are 3 and above. If you click on 5, this should show you all that are 5 and above. If you click on this little symbol, it will show you when you click on the 5, if you want it to be is equal to 5, is less than 5, or is greater than 5. So that's a great way to manage your photos. You can also manage by colors and stuff like that.
Okay, so I have 2 more questions in the chat. I have a question from Karim. Karim is asking if Aliyah Rose have any presets to send him. I don't know his one, Karim, but Karim out there, look here. Karim, but you have an answer for him though, Aliyah.
Yes. Well, I don't have any. I just like to edit each picture, and personally, I like bright, as you see from the images that I put of my work. I like them bright, and I like them just exposed correctly. Maybe later I'd have more of a style, but remember, you can go online and there are loads of presets that you can find for free.
Manala, I love how Karim just come out and Karim just look here. Miss, you have this. If you have it, please send me. Period. I love to see it. And Gabriel Porter is asking, how do you remove a mass amount of photos?
A mask. So you can click, if you have this photo selected, when you press shift and you click another photo, it will select all of those photos. If you want to go selecting 1, 2, 3, you can select this one, you can hold Control, and then you can click all the photos that you want, like this. And then you press delete, and it should remove all of those photos. But remember, when you do your shooting, put them all in an organized folder that you can then import them from. Unless this is all of the same shoot, then I understand.
Okay, so I think that's it for the questions for now.
Okay, now that we have beautifully edited our photos, we can export them. Some of you that have businesses might have your own personal logo, or if you're like in a photography club, I would have my own personal logo. So what you could do is select the photos that you want to export. Let me say this one. This one we did a few more edits to, and this one. And then I would go into File and Export. So let's look at this. Export to where? Export to my hard drive, which is on your computer. Export to same photo as original, which is the one folder. Or we could have a specific folder, or you could choose it later. But I usually like to have it in a subfolder. So it's the same folder as the original, but in a subfolder. So the subfolder's name could be edited, could be final, could be client, and whatever you want to name it. So it would have all the photos, and then when you go into that folder, it would have that folder with the edits that you've done. So then you can go on to naming. So you can name it in a sequence, custom name and sequence. By custom name, you would have, for this case, it was Toppin's birthday, or you could have my trip to Harrison's Cave. Or if it's for our clients, you would name it appropriately for the client. You could name it like X of Y. So if you want them to, if it's like 1 of 3, 2 of 3, 3 of 3, you can have it in a sequence file. It's like it would have Harrison's Cave -1, Harrison's Cave -2, Harrison's Cave -3. So this is very professional when you're exporting them for clients. Date, file name sequence. All these are different ways that you can begin to organize the examples are here. So it will be named Harrison's Cave 1.jpg. And the start number, if you already exported 5 and then you want to start from number 6, you will just put 6 here. Now you see the example updated. So if you export 3 photos, it'll be 6, 7, and 9. Video, well, this goes too fast. We are not really dealing with videos. You can just close that tab. For the file settings, this is the image format. You can either have it as a JPG, PSD, TIFF, or in the original file. When you bring in photos specifically from cameras, they are in RAW files. The client may not understand what a RAW file is or may not have a program that can open a RAW file. The RAW files are extremely large. Sometimes they can be like 10 songs big. Like you would have a song and the RAW file is 10 times as much as the song. So they're pretty big. So you don't want to overwhelm your clients. You want to give them something that they're familiar with. And the most common is JPEG. How much quality do you want? That could change the file size. If you want to limit your file size to make them not too big, for emails like Hotmail, you can only send 33 megabytes of files. Or if you don't want them to take up too much file size on your hard drive, etc. So sometimes you want to limit the file size. The color space, this is more dealing with if you want to print them and stuff like that. Generally, you keep that sRGB. For the image sizing, if you want your image to all be exported as a particular size, you can resize it to fit. For sharpening, this is for printing as well, if you want to put it on matte paper or glossy paper. Metadata is the information in the picture. So when you take a picture with a certain camera, even if it's your phone, and you go into details, you would see that camera, this, lens, this, and it would tell you what the exposure settings were. It would tell you how fast the shutter closed, all this technical photography stuff. I think Guy went through this yesterday. It will show you that information. It even show you the location information, especially on phones. They tend to record the location information. So you could take that off. Now for the watermarking, I select watermark Photat logo because I edit photos for Photat. But you could go into edit watermarks. And let's say I want to make a new one. Let me see. Where is it? Choose this PNG or JPG on my desktop. I can find my desktop. This PC. This is where you find your desktop. Users, let's see, desktop. I not found my desktop. All right, let me look for it. Either way, you should be able to drag it in. Well, if you have your file, you can imagine. There it is. I don't usually use my desktop. I like to keep it clear, so it's not here. But you can use a text if you want to. Restore default. I want mine to be text. So then if you see it there in the bottom left corner, you can move it around too. Let me put Aaliyah Rose. What color do I want it to be? Usually I usually select either black, I have a black version to the photography logo, or a white version, so you can make it completely black. But in this case, white stands out more against the image. I want it to be very opaque. Where do I want to anchor it? So for photo, I like to put it in the bottom right of the photo. Yes, so that's good. Save. You could save this as Aaliyah. So you will know that this is the one that says Aaliyah. After export, do you want it to open the files in your Explorer so you can see where they are? Well, maybe. And then you just hit export. This might take a little bit of your computer's power depending on how much images you want to export. So it might take a while. But when it does, you will have a layer there. And if you edited 100 photos, you wouldn't have to individually put the text or the photo on every single photo. It would just automatically do that for you. And then you would just find them in your folder, ready to send to your client. Yes, please. So I think that is the end of the demo. To recap, yeah, sorry, you saying something? Anyone
Right, are you going to recap, Leo?
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
To recap, remember you can go to file import from here, or you could go to library and click the import button to bring in your photos. Then when you bring in your photos, you go over to the develop tab, which is the one where you actually do the edits. Then there are the presets on the left. You can download them from online, or Adobe comes with some built in. And then to save your own preset, you can just click the plus. Then over here on the left, there are the different categories for editing. The basics, you want to start with cropping to make sure it has a good composition. Then for basic, you want to make sure that the temperature is right, the exposure is right. Generally, the photos today, everything has been more or less right. But sometimes you have that one photo that is very nice, but it's just a little off. Just know that sometimes you can definitely save your photos. So then you go over, edit your exposure, highlights, and then you go to tone curve. This is mostly where the magic happens. You can single out every channel, make the shadows more green, make them more red. You can do all that with the make the highlights a different color. So what you can do also, you can go and look at your favorite photographers and see what they do, see what you like from them, see what you want to incorporate into your work. So a lot of the photos nowadays, when they come straight off the camera, they do not look the same as when they don't have the same mood as when they are in magazines or on Instagram. So a lot of people use Lightroom. Then you can edit the individual colors of the shot. You want the blues more blue, you want the aquas more prominent. That's what you can do. Remember, look at the before and afters to see the dramatic changes. Hue, the color, saturation, the intensity of the colors, and luminant, the darkness of the color. Then split toning affects the highlights and the shadows and makes a different color for them. Detail, if you want to add grain to your photo, or if you want to take grain away from your photo, that's what you can do in detail. Lens correction, if your lens had a problem and the horizon line looks a little bit curved, you can correct that there as well. Then you can transform, effects, and calibrate to your specific camera. Then there's the spot removal tool. As we saw with the quiche, you can take spots out of the image. You can do that for pimples as well. And then for export, you select all the photos. You can click this one, press Control, and select all of them. Or if you want all from a specific rating, all that are 5-starred, then you can go to File, Export, and export your photos. That's the recap.
Okay, so is that all for your recap? Okay, awesome. So I'm actually glad you put your information on the screen, because I was going to ask, how could our participants reach out to you? So everyone, if you're interested in talking to Aaliyah Rose a little more on photography and editing, then you have her information on the screen that you can make use of. Before we close, this is actually good time, and it's 2:46. I have a good time. You see me? So before we close, everybody who are killing me about the digital credit and the flow credit, we'll have some more to give away. All right, so everybody take out your phone, type in the *121 number sign, and let's go. I'm giving you 2 seconds. All right, let's go. Flow, I hope you're able to speak Spanish. And I hope I pronounce them something here right. Ready? This is for flow users. 2, 1, 1, 4, 6, 9, 6, 9, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. Did anybody get that a while ago? For flow users who probably talk Spanish, tell me if you got it. If you did not get, see, wait there, Anthony. And if Anthony get the first flow credit, I don't understand what keep. I'm sure Anthony got the first flow credit as well. Big up yourself, Anthony. Big up yourself all the time. And the fact that he can talk Spanish too, big up yourself. So what we say, nobody in here don't talk, we can't speak Korean at all, we don't know. All right, cool, fine. Everybody else said no. All right, that's fine. So we're jumping right into Rihanna can speak Korean. Look here, you know, tell me to do Japanese and Mandarin and then somewhere. Who tell me I can talk them something there? That's like you say English. All right, so we're doing Spanish for the digital one as well. I did English though. I did English before. So we're doing the second digital. So all the digital users, take out your phone, *121 number sign. Let's go. Ready? 8, 8, 8, 0, 2, 8, 3, 3, 1, 1, 4, 1, 3. Boy, did anybody get that a while ago? There's a lot of 8 did there, a lot of 8s were there. Tell me in the comment section if you got that credit. Nataki said no. Nobody never get it.
I think you pronounced one of the words wrong. I think you pronounced one of them wrong.
Which one you pronounced wrong?
What is the thing you have to dial before the numbers you call?
Can you repeat that? Wait, Sabrina said thank you though.
What do you have to dial before the numbers you call?
Okay, guys, so somebody actually got the credit. Sabrina got the credit. Congratulations, Sabrina. So before we move on, that was the digital credit. Before we move on, we are all Tia, right, upset. We're all about helping to connect with people on this when we're doing our photography session. So it's not about you just coming and you learn and you go about your business. We're all about networking as well. And so I'm going to be the first person to do it. I just sent my personal Instagram page in the chat. So I'm asking everybody, if you have your photography page, if you want to promote your personal page, just do that so that I can follow you and that you guys can follow each other, because we're all about networking here. We're all about supporting everybody. So just drop your Instagram link in the bio, in the chat, and let's follow each other. All right. So for the other 2 credits that we're going to give away, this is what I want you to do. I want everybody to, if you edited any pictures today, which I really hope you did, I really want you to take a picture of the before and after if you can, or the after. Take a picture of the after, post it on your Instagram story, and tag the Commuters Instagram page. I'm going to put the link of our Instagram page so that you can tag us and tell us what you learned in the session. So you're going to take a picture of the photo you edited, tell us what you learned in the session, just a little one line and not to be nothing long, tag us, and we will choose a winner, and the winner will get the credit. All right, so we're doing that. I love it. I see the Instagram links coming in. Everybody just follow each other and support each other. So I'll be doing that right now as well. So while we're all doing that, we're still on good timing. It is 2:51. So I just want anybody to, you can open up your mic and let me know what you learned in this session, what you liked, was it a good session? Just be honest and just let's have a conversation. So any brave person wants to open up the mic and have a chat with me, I don't bite, and I'd love to speak to you. So I'm asking anybody to open up your mic and come talk.
Hello.
Hello. Hi, caller. Introduce yourself.
Hi, Digital Shake to Win. Thank you for calling.
How are you? What did you enjoy about the session today?
Well, honestly, I want to say first of all that my light went away as this session started, and I was so upset.
Oh.
But it came back, and I came in. Honestly, what I really liked was learning how to color correct and color grade as it relates to saturation, and luminance and stuff like that. Because for me, that was kind of an issue, because sometimes I'd play around with the sliders and then ruin everything and don't know how to fix it. And so that was really good for me personally, because, we're getting into the game, and I really appreciate, the session, because I feel like a lot of people are getting into this these days, and there isn't necessarily an outlet. Like, you have YouTube, but live sessions are sometimes really better. And so I appreciate this, because listen, this is people time. She could be doing anything. And so I appreciate the fact that she took time out of her day to come and share, her skills with us. So yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Thank you very much for that, caller. We appreciate it. That is Kareem. I know it's Kareem's voice because that's my friend. Thank you so much. Is there anybody else who would like to share what you learned, what you enjoyed about the session? Guys, I love talking to people, if you can't tell. So come open up your mic and come talk to me, man. Anybody. We have anybody from the different Caribbean countries, by the way? Anybody not from Jamaica? I love my Jamaican people, Don't think someone I love, I just wanted to know if there's anybody here not from Jamaica. All right, so nobody else want to talk to me? Okay, so I'm seeing Adan from Barbados. Big up yourself. Thank you so much for coming out. Is there anybody else who would like to share? If not, I'm going to go ahead and just close. Nobody? All right, that's good. So on behalf, Sterling James is from Trinidad. Big up yourself. We have Trini in the house. Big up yourself, guys. Thank you so much for coming out. All right, great. So on behalf of my entire team, I'd like to thank our presenter, Alia Rose Tate, for an awesome presentation. I know I learned enough. I know I learn enough. And this could not have been possible without our team that have been working behind the scenes, answering your questions, sending you links, helping you how to download and install the software. They were working behind the scenes to ensure this training session went well. And for that, we want to say thank you. And to our participants, none of this wouldn't even make no sense if they never come. We really appreciate you taking the time out, being here, learning, growing, and just learning a new craft, if it is that you're doing it for fun or building on the knowledge that you already have. We really love and appreciate you. Big up on yourself all the time, every time. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for showing out. Remember to join us again tomorrow, same place, same time, as we connect all campuses through photography. I am your host, Aishiba Cornwall, and I am signing out. Thank you so much, guys. Bye.
Bye.
You're welcome.